Hi everybody, welcome back to the garden. It is probably about to rain, so I'm going to try and make a quick video. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about allowing your flowers and vegetables to go to seed. Most of the time, it really depends on what you're looking to do. If you want to encourage more growth and continuous blooms potentially, you don't really want to allow your flower to go to seed, because once the plant goes to seed, it completes its life cycle. So then it dedicates all this energy into producing a seed so that it can kind of reproduce into the next season, and then it dies. So if you want to encourage more blooms from the plants that you have, oftentimes, and for many different varieties, you can deadhead the plant. So that means snipping off the fading flower. If you want to encourage seeds, because maybe you actually want to collect seeds, you want to start seeds in the next year, you want to propagate through seeds, then you can actually allow your plant to go to seed. For example, this lupin that I have right here is going to start, it's fading away. You can see the bottom flowers are fading. And underneath these spent flowers are seed pods. So these seed pods are going to eventually mature and produce seeds, and I can then collect these or allow them to just drop into the soil around and hopefully potentially reproduce, depending on if this plant is sterile or not. But that's one example of what you can do. Something like my petunias. I have petunias in the front window boxes that I started from seed, heirloom seeds, just as a way of saving on costs. I'm not a huge fan of buying annuals unless I have to, just because I feel like it's something that you buy and then you have to do it every year. So I prefer to invest in perennials, and then I try to start my annuals from seed when I can. And if I let my petunias go to seed and develop seed pods, they're going to stop flowering, and I'm going to have a pretty short flowering season. So in that case, I actually want to snip them off. I'm going to show you guys what they look like. So here we have some old-fashioned winding petunias, and once the flower is spent, I keep deadheading them or chopping these off. Otherwise, what's going to happen is that this flower, because it is an heirloom seed that it has the ability to continue producing seeds, it's going to form a seed head, and then inside there's a bunch of dozens of these little black seeds, which is how I actually started all of these plants in my patio flower boxes. So I allowed a lot of them to go to seed, and I'm going to allow more of them to go to seed, but probably later on in the season. So I don't want to do that just yet, because they will stop flowering, and I want to keep these blooming all summer long. And at the end of the summer and of the season, when we're kind of nearing the end of summer and temperatures are going to start cooling down and other flowers are going to replace these, like marigolds or asters or munds, then I'm going to let them go to seed. I'm going to save a bunch of these flower heads, and I'm going to be able to actually sow those and start new petunias for the following year for my flower boxes. So I don't have to spend any more money ever on petunias. All I did was buy one seed packet. I think it was from Revival Seeds, and I think it maybe cost around $5. So it's slightly on the more expensive side, but because they're heirloom seeds and they're going to continue giving, and I still have plenty from the original packet, and they're just going to keep giving me seeds, so that's a one-time investment if I can just give it a little bit more attention. So that's one way and one reason why you might actually want to allow your flowers to go to seed or deadhead them, depending on what your goal is and on your timing. Hope that helps, and on you grow.